Good morning, guys. I just wanted to come on here today and, since it's a lovely day, do a garden tour. So this will be the first one for the year. Bear with me if my videos are inconsistent, just because I really do want to do this year, but I am in nursing school and it's killing me right now. So again, love me, be easy on me, and let's get started, okay? Okay, so as you can see here, not that many plants are growing right now, but enough for me to do this tour, okay? So let's start from here. We have canna lilies growing here. This is my spot for the canna lilies. It grows every single year, and as you can see, they are starting to pop up. What's great about canna lilies is they have beautiful blooms, especially in the summer and in the fall. The leaves are just gorgeous to look at when they're not blooming anyways, and they reproduce like crazy. So when it gets completely compacted and full here, I just go ahead and just shovel them out. It's really easy. You just literally get a shovel, cut all the way down, pull out what you want, plant it, pot it, give them away, and it won't really affect your specific area because it's just that prolific. As you can see in this little corner here, I have some nasturtium. I had like 5 or 6 different varieties of nasturtium, which I didn't even know existed, that will grow here anyways, and I saw them at the store and I just grabbed them all and I kind of just threw them out wherever they'll grow. It's really a hit and miss with nasturtiums for me. There was a specific spot near my raised bed that's great and it will grow, but the rest of the areas, I don't know if like the squirrels eat them, the wind blows them away, or it's just not a good spot for them, but it doesn't grow in certain areas. So this year I just went ahead and I just threw them out everywhere to see where they go. I love them anyway, so I'm okay with wherever they grow. My celery, I know, is looking pretty rough. I think I'm going to take it out just because, you know, I only grew it just for my husband and he wanted to use it for soups, but I don't really make soups. And so it just kind of sits here. What a waste, right? So what I do is I kind of like pull them out and I throw them out. They help the soil anyways. So I just literally just chop them, drop them, and let nature take its course. I got some mint here. I do have mint growing in pots throughout my garden. And the reason why I do that is because it's very invasive. So if you put them in the ground and you don't mind it taking over, then go ahead, do you. But I do not want my mint to grow into my grass because I feel like that would be a disaster. So I went ahead and potted them all, or put them in raised beds. Here is my onions. I do have nasturtiums growing along the area here, and on the back border I think they're marigolds, and then on the side nasturtiums. And I did that because, you know, they say that nasturtiums and marigolds keep the pest away. I had a lot of problems with this raised bed, specifically because the ground squirrels found a way to tunnel underneath it. I have had this raised bed for like years, like 5 or 6 years, and so I knew it was gonna happen eventually, but when I started out I didn't know that was gonna be an issue, but now it is, and so I'm doing what I can to fix it. I'm hoping that maybe if I grow things in there that they don't like, it'll deter them from coming back in here. But as you can see, I've had the burlap over my raised bed, and I planted some broccoli, and as you can see, they still were able to get underneath it, and I pinned it down. You see all those pins right there on the, yeah, you see all those pins? I pinned the burlap down so they can't get to it, and they still got to it. So I'm gonna have to find another location for my vegetables that they prefer eating, which I will show you in another video where that's located. Here I have my onions, and again, my family eats a lot of onions, so I didn't just plant them in one area. I planted them throughout my garden, so I would have different locations, so if one area is hit, the other ones hopefully won't be affected. I have mint growing here. Again, it's just to try to deter other insects or rodents from trying to get into the garden, so I'm hoping that it works. Here is my trumpet vines. I know it looks pretty rough right now, but it grows back every year, no issue. I'm kind of excited because if you look here, I have a star of jasmine growing right here. And so my vision is it's going to grow along this fence line and the back of the rock wall, and then grow this way, and then the trumpet vines are going to grow this way and that way. And so it'll just be a very pretty mix of white flowers and orange flowers. And how beautiful would that be with the beautiful fragrance of the star jasmine? I think that would be lovely in the garden. This is my red chief nectarine. I'm super excited about it. I went to a grocery store that I normally don't go into because we just needed to get some salsa real quick, and boom, they just had multiple edible plums, nectarines, peaches. They had all of those fruit trees in their grocery section, and I was like, oh my god, what a steal, because look at this, it's $25. $25. Now obviously with tax it was probably like 30, but I don't care, it was still a steal. I don't have a nectarine in my garden, now I do, so it's a win for me. I've said it multiple times, you are paying for what you get, right? So I'm not expecting this tree to be as amazing as my my other fruit trees. Here, let me show you. Like, this is an apricot. This one is a peach. Let's see here. Which I got both of them at Eastside Nursery. This is my fig I got from Sierra Vista. This apple tree is also from Eastside Nursery. This one is from Lowe's, and surprise, surprise, this tree right here was the very first fruit tree I ever planted in ground. It's the smallest one out of all of the plants that I've grown, all the trees that I've grown. And you could just tell the difference. I mean, look at the difference in growth between the one from Eastside, which is right here, and then the one from Lowe's right here. The only difference between these two trees were like $10. So I paid $10 more for this tree, but this one produced apples sooner. It's bigger. The apples are bigger. The leaves were stronger. This tree was just ultimately healthier than this tree. This one was always a struggle with me. But I'm saying this because, yes, you want to get a good, fair price for your fruit trees, but you might be paying less because it's a younger tree, which means you're going to have to wait longer for the fruits to be able to harvest. And so you got to put all of that into consideration. Obviously, you need to go with what your budget is. And so if you want to eat the fruits sooner, you might want to spend a little bit more money. So you're buying the age of the tree, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay, so back to this side. So this trellis is a disaster. It's already rusted out. It gets hit with water so often here that it's just not a good spot. So I got another one. I'm removing this. I'm going to take this bench and move it into my turtle sanctuary. And then I'm gonna take this trellis out, and then I'm gonna plant more trees here. I do have a grapevine right here, so I gotta really decide how I want to grow that out. I might have to just either move it. It's not that old. I got that last year, so I think I can move it and maybe put it with my other grapevine, which is on the other side of my backyard. So we'll see with that. If you guys haven't looked it up, I strongly recommend you look up and research 7 layers of a forest. It pretty much informs you on what you need to create a healthy, natural environment so that all the plants work with each other to help each other grow, okay? So pretty much you need trees that give you canopy and shade protection. That's where these big trees come through. Then you have the regular fruit trees, right? Then I have bushes and shrubs. And then I have ground covers. I also sometimes throw out vegetable seeds out here. And so then that way the root crops can go down and help aerate the soil. As you can see, my ground is covered with leaves and it is all over the yard. But I'm okay with that because leaves, I mean, the natural abilities of leaves is it falls to the ground, it breaks down, it feeds and protects the soil, and then the soil is healthy and the roots are able to obtain those nutrients, and then the tree grows. So it's a beautiful circle of life going on right in front of your eyes. And I think that everyone needs to really focus on doing that, because I see a lot of new gardeners, which again, I'm not an expert or anything like that, but I've learned enough from my experiences that you really have to follow certain rules of nature for it to work for you. If you just want to say, oh, well, I only want this tree, but that tree is not native to your area, that tree doesn't have any protection, that tree doesn't have the nutrition, you're gonna end up being upset because you're not gonna get the outcome that you wanted. Okay, so keep that in mind, guys. Really focus on health of the soil and the layering of your garden, okay? I want to show you this pitiful tree. This pitiful tree is looking like that because of what all I said. I didn't follow through with it when I was a young, new gardener. I just planted it. I had nothing around there. And I was like, oh, well, it's going to grow. No, I should have, like, as you could see, I wanted a certain shape too soon in the tree's life. And I cut all of those off. So now nothing from here grows, only from up here. So I had to re-trim this tree, and I have to now be more patient to get the shape that I want for this tree. This tree has been struggling, but it's not because of it, it's my fault. So you gotta own it and then try to fix it. But sometimes when you try to fix it, this is the results of it. You know, you don't get exactly what you want, okay? So learn early on how to take care of your yard. So as I said before, I have canna lilies that I pretty much cut from the mother plant, and I planted throughout the yard to see how they do. And again, they grow so often and so prolific that I don't really care where I put it in, because if it doesn't do well in that area, I know I could plant something else there, and I could use the regrowth of my canna lilies to put it anywhere else, okay? So that is my canna lily. This is my plumbago. Love it. Beautiful, like blue, like a light and dark blue color flowers. Very sturdy, very hardy here. We are in El Paso, zone 8B. El Paso can be anywhere from zone 8A, 8B. Okay, so just keep in mind what your hardiness zone is. But all the plants that I have in my garden are about, I would say about 90% of my plants are either native to here, or they grow well with the climate that we have here. Okay, so we are in zone 8B. Okay, here are yellow bells. I know it looks pretty rough now, but as you can see, it's growing back. A lot of my plants, as you could see, I don't really cut back to the ground. And during the winter, I just leave it exactly the way it is. So then that way it could help itself protect itself from the weather and the cold. Okay, pretty much you want your soil to be protected and you want your roots to stay warm. And so by keeping mulch on it and leaving the plant the way it looks, it would actually help it from getting damaged during the wintertime, okay? So when it gets warmer, then I go ahead and trim things down. That's why you see certain things cut down. Depending on, I look up what the plant is and how cold they can handle it. Again, majority of them, I leave them as be until it starts getting warm. Then once the last chance of frost happens, then I start pruning things down. This was my Charlie Brown tree. And this tree was planted the exact same time as that one over there. And again, it's all about location, soil, water, lighting. All of that had to be included. And as you can see, I thought that since I saw in El Paso that this tree does well, it's going to grow with whatever condition I put it in. Well, this tree was suffering for so many years because where the bird feeder is to where my fig tree is, it doesn't have any sprinklers hitting that area at all. And right here, this bare spot, I had a playground set because none of this grew because it was like a weird rectangle shaped area where they just didn't have sprinklers at all. So when I planted everything here, I didn't think about the watering issue, just thought that it would just grow naturally with the amount of water it got throughout the year, but that's not true. It's going to still need some supplemental water. It still needs to have some soil protection. And if you look at my earlier videos or pictures as I was growing my garden, you could see how far this has come. And this is mostly grown because I've added amendments to the soil. I protect the soil, I water it, I trim off any dead leaves, and you want to do that just because why do you want your tree to keep on producing energy for something that's already dead, you know? So if you just cut it off, it'll focus this energy on the rest of the tree. So keep that in mind too, okay guys? My fig is just barely starting to open its leaves. So I'm excited about this. I love figs. They taste so good. And one of my goals is I just want to wake up one day, come out here and just start pulling just fruits from my trees and just saying, wow, I grew this and it tastes so good because I didn't have to worry about any chemicals sprayed on it, wax added to keep it looking nice in the grocery store like they do now. And remember, when you buy fruits and vegetables from the grocery store, they're not really focused on taste. They're just focused on protecting it from the insects and then bringing it to the stores and making them last longer so then we could buy them. But when you plant your own fruit trees and you plant your vegetables, then what you're doing is you're eliminating all of that stuff that you're putting in your body and you're getting straight organic edible fruits and vegetables. And the flavor of these organic fruits and vegetables are by far like the best tasting things you'll ever eat. And you will then realize how much you've been actually missing in your life when it comes to taste, guys. So now that I'm done rambling, right here, as you can see, I have my lantanas. Lantanas do great here. They don't smell that great, but they are very beautiful. So keep that in mind. If you want something to grow that's fairly native here, that you don't really have to do much to grow it, definitely consider a lantana, okay? I know there's some trash in my garden. I'm okay with that for right now. It's been very windy. The trash is still going to blow. So I'm not too worried about it right now. So I'm just leaving everything be until I do a cleanup later. Okay. But as you can see, my lantana is growing. These are, I believe they're called firecrackers. Don't quote me on that. But they're red and orange flowers. Beautiful. These, I cut it to look like a big bush. So when you think about it, when I have these Palo Verde, and which these are wild, by the way. They just started sprouting and I just started growing them. And you got these beautiful green leaves, and then you got these beautiful yellow flowers mixed with these beautiful orangey reddish bush. Oh, it's divine. It's just divine, guys. It's so pretty. I use a lot of color in here, hence Color the Desert. My goal is to make sure that even in the desert, you could still have beauty surrounding you and create an environment where you could be like just happy to be here, you know? You don't have to look at everything that's brown all the time, you know? So I do have a spot here. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this spot. Last year I had corn growing. It did pretty well, but the animals got to it. So it was kind of disappointing. The corn was, they look like little baby corn. Edible, but it wasn't a big harvest that I expected. But so I might try corn again. Obviously not in this area. There are certain vegetables that you don't want to grow in the same spot, okay? Because all the nutrients from that area is already depleted from that vegetable that you planted there. So you're gonna want to like switch it up. It's kind of like when you grow squash or cucumbers, they deplete the nutrients from the soil, but then you also got squash bugs, right? So you keep planting it in the same area, those insects kind of learn to go in that same area to get their food. So you should consider like planting it in different unconventional areas, just so the nutrients in the soil is there for that plant, and you kind of trick the bugs on thinking that you just don't have it in the yard. Okay, so keep that in mind. The new trellis that I bought looks just like this one. I love it. It's so pretty. And I have my grate right here. And see, I just gonna grow this all along this trellis. And it's gonna look lovely. And I have a really sad star jasmine back there. I think it's going to grow better this year just because I added more nutrients to the soil, like compost and worm casting and stuff like that. So I think it's going to do well. I think it gets a lot of sunlight blocked and water blocked because of this stump, my palm tree stump. So this year, I'm going to actually cut this stump down further. I don't want to completely remove the stump. Or maybe I do. I don't know. I really wanted to use the stump as like a little table. But as you can see, it's kind of cut lopsided a little bit. And I was going to use it as a planter. But it was never really dug out too deep in it. So it never fully grew anything. So I'm going to cut it down, see how I like it, make it into like a cute little table, and I can put like chairs around it, you know? If that doesn't work out, then I might have to just go ahead and remove the whole sucker and then maybe plant, I don't know, I'm not sure, something else. But we'll see, that's more to come. As you can see throughout the soil or in my garden, you see like these random seeds. I bought like a billion amount of seeds. Wildflower seeds. I got annual wildflower seeds. I got perennial wildflower seeds. I got seeds that grow in the spring, seeds that grow in the summer, seeds that grow in the fall. I mixed them all up and I just threw them all over the yard. I did that specifically because, one, I love flowers and I love seeing flowers and color throughout the year. Two, this is constantly going to produce some kind of food supply for pollinators. And you got to remember, 2/3 of our food is pollinated by pollinators. Bees, wasps, what else? Dragonflies, birds, hummingbirds, you know? And so we really got to have their food supply on point if we want to benefit from their hard work, okay? So keep that in mind. You want to keep food going nonstop, okay, guys? Let me just turn here. I have so much going on right here, right? And you guys are like, what a mess. But it only looks like a mess because it's still, you know, spring, just got done with winter. Everything's growing out. So I'm not worried. This is my Mexican feathergrass. Love it. When it grows babies, you can literally pull it out of the ground however you like. stick it wherever and it will grow just fine. I have right here my wisteria. Poor location for my wisteria. It struggles every year. Nonetheless, it still grows. I just keep it in mind that it might not be this amazing wisteria that I had envisioned growing several years ago, but it still produces the leaves that I really enjoy looking at, and so I will keep that in that spot. Again, I have lantanas, yellows, whites, orange, reds, purples. I have those growing all throughout my yard, and I have them, the trailing, the mounding, the bush version of those. So when it gets a little bit warmer and they start growing, I'll definitely show you guys the difference between all my lantanas. But as you can see right here, these beautiful, let me zoom in, right there, as you can see right there, those are my red apple aptenias. Great succulents here, perfect for ground covers. It does well in any location, easy to propagate. You just cut it, create like maybe 1 to 2 inches of stem, stick it in dirt, forget about it. Okay, this is my loquat. I know it looks pretty busted. I'm okay. I was a little concerned about it. I'm okay right now. I am reaching out to other loquat growers just to make sure that I am taking care of it appropriately. I know our water is really, really hard, so I think it's that. So I reached out. Several of them said that they think it's going to be okay. It's just new and just give it some time. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I do have a filter that I could put on my hose, so I might also use that as well. Let me see. Again, plumbago. I'm really happy to see this plumbago grow, just because my bestest dog in the whole entire world, Bruiser, he passed away. And so we did a ceremony here where we sprinkled his ashes and we planted this plumbago. So every time we see it grow out, we just get really excited. We're like, oh, Bruiser is with us. And so it just makes us happy. So I'm glad that it does well in this spot. It really likes this spot. I got some flowers growing here. I know what they are. I just can't think of the name right now. It's just, I lost it, guys. I lost it. I'm going to blame it on nursing school. I haven't slept right for several months, and I go to work full time, so I do gardening part-time while also taking care of my family as well. So forgive me, but I know you guys know what they are too. I also know, I just can't really say it right now. But anyways, moving on. This is my improved Myers lemon. I do have my sprinklers going now, I think twice a week. Location is decent. It does get shade, which I think that's why it gets affected a lot. It did produce some fruit last year, but it looks a little rough, and I think it's getting too much water and not enough sun in this area. So I know that was my bad on me. I'm going to still see how it does. I'm going to try to face the sprinklers a different route or different spray location, so then that way maybe it doesn't hit it as often. And I did trim back my Chilean mesquite, and so that way it could get some more sun. So I'm hoping those changes will help this lemon. Okay, let me see here. Look how big my yard looks now that I don't have my playground set. It's crazy. So we're planning on doing some renovations. Geraldo, our other admin for Color the Desert, he's going to hook me up. He's going to get me an estimate and help me with transforming my backyard into a beautiful, beautiful desert oasis. I'm going to extend my patio area to go the same length of the home, and then maybe extend it a little bit more outward, like this way. So then that way we have more sitting area. We're going to keep this open so that way I have a lot of nieces and nephews. They could still run around, throw the football around, stuff like that. And then right here, I have, what do I have? Oh, yes, I have my elephant ears. I was like, man, this thing looks rough. What is this? Okay, so this is my elephant ears. It looks rough right now, but don't worry, guys. It does grow back every year. It does like more shade than sun in El Paso. So I picked this spot, and it gets enough water from the sprinkler because we have grass. And so no issues. Best location for it. No issues in this area. Loves the area. Protected on both ends from this wall and this wall, these bushes. And so it grows every year. I have giant elephant ears and I got regular elephant ears. So the height difference here and the size difference of the leaves are fantastic. I can't wait for you guys to see that happening. See, now I have some nasturtiums already starting to grow. So super excited about that. I don't really care so much about the weeds in here, but because again, there's benefits to weeds, and weeds are only something that you would consider unworthy of being in that spot. So if you see a weed, this is how I see it. If it's not a bad weed, like dandelions, for instance, it's a great first food source for bees, for instance. I leave those in my garden. I like looking at them. It has color. It's beneficial to all of the pollinators. So even though it's considered a weed, I don't pull those out. I just don't see the need of it. I have multiple roses here. They come variety of colors. These were here when we moved in about almost 14 years ago, 15 years ago. They went through a lot of struggle. They had a lot of disease. They were planted way too close. They were not trimmed in between the years. So they were struggling a lot. They planted it, but the ground was bare. So it was really struggling. So the first thing I did was I added more soil, and then I added mulch, trimmed out the center areas, kept it cut short. Anything that looked diseased, I chopped it off, and it helped a lot with that. This bush, always been a struggle. I think, again, same thing, poor location, poor nutrients. I don't want to take it out because I do feel horrible pulling out plants that have been established, just because it's wanting to live. It wants to grow, right? So I'm going to try to give it another chance. I'm going to try to cut it down even more. Do the same thing. Cut this, the middle part out a bit so it has better airflow. And as you can see, I have heavy mulch back there. So I'm hoping that that helps with soil, moisture control, and then adding nutrients. When you see the leaves like this, it's got a deficiency, okay? So chances are when it's a deficiency, you got to think about what kind of nutrients plants need. They need nitrogen, they need potassium, they need phosphorus, they need calcium, they need magnesium. And so you think about all of those stuff, iron, and then you go, okay, well, the leaves are not deep dark green. Iron and nitrogen provide deep dark green. So you might want to start with that, seeing that. If your plants, all your plants are struggling, I recommend you just get a soil test and just check different parts of your garden to see. Maybe you amended this side perfectly or added enough plants that it helps, you know, it's a nitrogen fixer, so it'll help itself, you know, here. But maybe I didn't add enough things to fix the soil here. So then I know I need to either provide it the actual nutrients that it needs, or I need to plant things underneath it to provide that nutrients that it needs. So put that into mind. Random flowers here. All my frogs are down. I really wanted frogs in my yard. It's not going to happen, but they still look cute. Yeah. So I know this video was super long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it and enjoyed my jabbering and blabbering and blah, blah, blah. And I'll do one next month, or yeah, I'll do one next month to show you how the backyard's doing. I'll make another video on the side yards, my plants in the side yards, and my front yard. And then hopefully you guys enjoy watching these, and I'll just make some more. So you guys have a wonderful day, wonderful Saturday, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.